Sune, thank you so much for joining us today. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Now, what I'd love to do is start by just getting a little bit more information about you and what your role is at LSEG.
Well, my role is I'm heading the investment and wealth solutions for the EMEA region, so Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and really positioning LSEG here as a partner. So when you think of doing anything within, investment or wealth solutions, you think of us not only as a provider of data and technology, but really as a partner that can help you run a better business, create better customer experiences.
So on the topic of wealth solutions, what I'd love to do is start by looking at how that wealth has changed. So as we look over the past few years, how has wealth management really changed in your perspective?
There are several trends, but all in all, we have seen digitalization really kicking off. We saw the pandemic creating a need for online services. People needed to access their banks and wealth managers from home. And that has transitioned from being, let's say, something of a necessity, actually, to something where people think it's convenient now. So they have a choice now. And when they go to a branch office, that's when they choose to do so. But they want the convenience of staying at home. And that transformation is something many banks are trying to adjust to, really an omni-channel service model.
It's interesting what you said there, because is the driver innovation from banks to be more digital, or is the innovation from consumers because they are now wanting to consume more, access digitally?
I think for many of the incumbent players, it's actually a game of catching up. Many have perhaps underinvested a little bit in their online services. Digitalization has very much been about, creating efficiencies, which is fair and square also for customers. But that game of catching up has really been about to provide a great online customer experience and not just a place you can log on and see your whatever accounts and investments and stuff. And that game of catching up, we're not nearly done there yet.
What do you see in terms of demographics? Is it a simple thing to say that the younger generation are more digitally sound and the older generation are more averse to banking digitally?
Yes and no. I think actually even elderly people think it's more convenient to do banking and advice from home. You don't have to find a parking lot. The coffee is perhaps better at home, actually. But what we see is that all around, clients in wealth management, they like advisors. They're willing to pay more for a personal advisor. And that also goes for clients under 30. But they get more advice from online media, social media, so on and so forth. And we see that trend as well from the, let's say, the elderly clients. But what is a big difference is that the younger generation, so perhaps below 20, they will inherit a lot of wealth in the coming years. They've never been to a bank branch. And that's where we see the big inflection point. They expect digital first.
Right, that's interesting. So what are some of the bigger conversations you're having with clients right now? What sort of solutions are people looking for today?
That is really about creating a better customer experience. I mean, we see a lot of great solutions out there, but I think it's almost safe to say that no bank or wealth manager has really cracked the code yet of leveraging the means you have from online services, really creating something that's different. We've talked about Amazon and Netflix being the benchmark for a wealth manager, not the bank next door, basically. But no one has really used data, their own data and bought data to create a different customer experience, a completely different journey, one could say. And these are the conversations we're having right now. You still need the advisor because all, as I said before, younger, elderly clients, they all are willing to pay for the personal advisor. Mm-hmm. So how is it you empower the advisor? You create a different online experience, and really how do you create that piping in between? That will be the secret of the wealth manager of the future.
Just picking up on what you said, over the past decade or so, we've had generally upward moving markets. It's been quite a tailwind with low interest rates. And now we've hit a lot of headwinds recently. Maybe now more than ever, you need a wealth advisor because we're not used to having so many headwinds at once.
No, exactly. I think we've seen, the rise of online brokerage companies. And what we saw, early in 2022 was that people stopped moving a lot of means in there. Perhaps some of those means have been play money. And all of a sudden, when you have inflation rates, you have volatile markets, you don't play around with your money to the same extent. Wealth is about financial well-being. It's about securing your income also when you leave the job market. And you shouldn't fool around too much there, right?
And just a few more questions, if I may. You mentioned data, and from what I'm picking up from you, it feels like personalization is something which has come on leaps and bounds in the last few years. To what extent can data help to make wealth management a more personal experience, specific to whether you have a family and where you live and what sort of hobbies you have and things like that?
I mean, in so many ways. And that's really where we need to help clients create that, oh my God, they know me feeling when people are logging in. I think the advisor, he or she knows how to do it. I have a great wealth advisor actually, and she knows me, right? She calls me for Halloween. We have a thing going on there and stuff. And that's what we need to create digitally as well, as a supplement to the advisor. And they need to do so. Wealth and wealth management is not just about investments. It's about financial well-being. And that's to ensure that my kids are safe and good and well. They can pay for college. My wife, she knows what's going on. Should I, get hit by a truck or something? She's safe and sound. And that is something we need to bring holistic advice.
It's an interesting point, actually, because I think there are perhaps some people out there who feel that digitalization means less of a personal touch. But in so many ways, it can actually mean more of a personal touch as long as you're using data to understand your client.
And that's why I call it omnichannel, really, and not virtual or advisor, but play people better, play them stronger in their role. And advisors can be empowered by getting more data about clients and the markets, how that works into financial well-being. And at the same time, you can facilitate better decision-making for the customers by having them getting the right data when they need to make decisions. And then really for banks and wealth managers, they can focus their power, their advisors on really where they differentiate themselves and leave perhaps some online services to where it's more, let's say, plain vanilla stuff, more commoditized.
Now, Sune, I'm going to ask you to look into a crystal ball, if you don't mind. And as you look out into 2023, what's one prediction you have for the world of wealth management?
I think back to basics, actually. I think after so many years of a really benign climate for investors and in every single way, I think we're going back to basics in terms of financial advice, in terms of seeking financial well-being, and really getting that sound and proper advice, and not just that gamification, perhaps, of investments we have seen lately. So a little bit back to basics, but garnished then with strong digitalization, much better customer experiences.
Great. Well, back to basics it is. And Sune, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you for having me.